You are a newly promoted senior developer and you have a lot on your plate. You have to design, code, refactor, mentor, manage your stakeholder, and learn new skills. How do you keep up with the demand? How do you prioritize your tasks? How do you avoid feeling overwhelmed and stressed out? If you are struggling with these questions, you are not alone. I have been in your shoes and I have found a simple solution that works. It's not what you might expect. It's not about working harder or following a to-do list. It's about changing your perspective on prioritization. In this video, I will share with you my secret method to prioritize your work and stay on top of your game as a senior developer. Let's get started. The solution. Let me share with you a quote that captures my idea. Perspective gives us the ability to accurately contrast the large with small and the important with less important. Without it, we are lost in the world where all ideas, news, and information looks the same. We cannot differentiate, we cannot prioritize, and we cannot make good choices. John Sunan. When you were a junior software engineer, you learned to focus on the task at hand without giving much thought to how it will fit into the big picture. I'm not saying this is the case for all junior software engineers, but I think 90% of us fall into this category. When you get promoted to senior software engineer, or when you are preparing for a promotion and taking on senior engineering responsibilities, you might make two common mistakes that keep you busy but not productive. The first mistake is to start your day by checking your emails or messages and reacting to whatever others need from you. This might make you feel helpful, but it also distracts you from your own goal and priorities. The second mistake is to rely on a long to-do list that makes everything seems urgent and important. This might make you feel organized, but it also overwhelms you with too many choices and too little time. So, what's the solution? How can you prioritize your work effectively and efficiently? The answer is simple. Prioritize the outcome, not the task. I know this might sound confusing, but don't worry. I will explain everything in details. Next, we will talk about what outcome prioritization is and give you an example to help you understand it. And if you want to learn how to think about the outcome of your tasks and how to prioritize them effectively, then stay tuned until the end of this video and don't miss out. Outcome prioritization is a way of managing your workload as a senior developer by focusing on the results you want to achieve, not the task you need to do. It helps you avoid lost in others' priority and low-level tasks that can ruin your productivity and stress you out. Recall our previous quote by John Sunan and replace perspective with outcome thinking. Outcome thinking gives us the ability to accurately contrast the large with small and the important with less important. Without it, we are lost in the world where all ideas, news, and information looks the same. We cannot differentiate, we cannot prioritize, and we cannot make a good choice. Now we'll look at a hypothetical scenario of a team project and how a senior software engineer can apply the outcome prioritization method to manage the workload effectively. Let's say your team is assigned to create a product API. It has multiple features such as listing all the products, getting a single product info, adding a new product, and updating a product. You are the senior developer in your team and you have 3 junior engineers working with you. Before you start, you have to estimate the work and outline a milestone plan. For example, dev complete, end-to-end test complete, and release. How do you approach this project? How do you identify your priority and your team's priority? If you are like most senior developers, you might start by thinking about what task you need to do to start the development activity. For example, find existing code base that you can use as a template, produce a design document and think about key criteria for the setup, such as using TypeScript or not, or which database to use. Find out about CI/CD tools, designing the DB schema for the product table, finding product attributes, think about how to store variants of products, how to normalize the tables, what are the performance implications, document the design, and so on. But how do you prioritize which one to do first? Which one is the most important or urgent? Which one will have the most impact on the outcome of the project? This is where most senior developers get stuck. They try to do everything at once or they get overwhelmed by the complexity and the details of the task. They lose sight of the big picture and the goal of the project. This is where the outcome prioritization method comes in handy. How does it work? It works by breaking down the project into smaller outcomes rather than tasks. An outcome is a specific measure and achievable results that contribute to the success of the project. For example, for the product API project, some possible outcomes are designing the code base, designing the product API solution, set up the code base, implement the features, test the product API, release the product API, and so on. These outcomes are more meaningful and relevant than the task because they show what you want to accomplish and why. They also help you communicate your value and progress to your team and manager. Once you have identified the outcome, you can prioritize them according to their importance and urgency. You can also group the tasks under each outcome and prioritize them based on their dependency and importance. If you want to know more about how to do prioritization, I have a video that goes into more details. Please find the link in the description below. For example, for the outcome of the designing the code base, you might have the following tasks. Find an existing code base that you can use as a template. Identify the best folder structure like monorepo. Think about microservice pattern. Choose the static code quality check tools. Choose the unit test frameworks. Create a final design documents. You can then prioritize these tasks based on which one will enable you to complete the outcome faster and better. For instance, you might start with finding an existing code base that you can use as a template because that will save you time and effort. Then you might move on to choosing the folder structure, the microservice pattern, and the tools because they will affect the quality and performance of your code. Finally, you might create the design document because that will help you communicate your design to your team and manager. By following this process, you can focus on the task that matters the most and deliver excellence in your daily work. Now, how do you think about outcome? Well, there are two types of outcomes and you need to understand them and how they relate to each other. In my perspective, we can break down the outcomes into two categories: external outcome, internal outcome. External outcomes are the ones that are outside of your control but affect your work and goal. For example, the business goals and the team's goals. Internal outcomes are the ones that are within your control and contribute to the external outcome. For example, what you are doing that helps the team and the business. Think of them as a hierarchical structure. Multiple internal outcomes contribute to the one external outcome. For example, if your business goal is to increase the revenue and the team's goal is to launch a new feature, then your internal outcome might be to design the feature, code the feature, test the feature, and deploy the feature. The outcomes you are working on is your internal outcome, and the outcome others are working on are their internal outcome. Together, they all contribute to the overall outcome of the team and the business. These are the external outcomes that you need to align with and support. As a senior software engineer, you are an individual contributor, but you also have to collaborate with others. From your perspective, this way of breaking down the outcomes works well because it helps you to understand your role and responsibility and how you fit into this big picture. So how do you use outcome prioritization at your work? Well, I'm not telling you to change the way you think or work drastically right away. You can take baby steps. Whatever the way you are creating, thinking, and breaking down your task, keep doing it. But once you have done your mind dump, then go over it and start looking at them by outcome level as we did with our product API example. If you want to know how to do a mind dump and how that helps you to avoid being overwhelmed, I have a video on that. Please find the link in the description below. After grouping, you will see if any outcome need more tasks to complete it, or if you missed any outcome that is needed to achieve your external outcome. This will help you to refine and optimize your task list and make it more manageable and meaningful. And that's it. That is how you prioritize your task as a senior developer using outcome prioritization. I hope you find this video useful and learned something new. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up and leave a comment below. I will love to hear from you. See you in the next video.